Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and now we're continuing on with our Django View app. And in this video, what I want to do is work on passing the props and routes. Okay, so I did some reading up on that. I think I know what to do, so we can adjust some of the things that we did before. One of those things is to pass the URL down so we can use it in login. So we did successfully pass that to header. Okay, that's what this did. We passed, not that, but URL down to header. So we have that down here. So from what I read, what we want to do is pass it over here. Let me just go take a look at that syntax again. It's this right here. We go to, and then we want to pass an object there. Okay, so I'm going to copy that. But I would like, yeah, that's fine. So then we go, nope, that's back to the Django part. So then over here, when we click on the login button, and that takes us to login, right here's the router link. So instead we're going to swap out this /login with this. So I'm going to say, hey, take us to page login using the name. And I'm going to use backticks here because I want to yes, that should work. So I'm going to use backticks here. I want the backtick right after, yeah, right after here. Okay, so 2. Why is it complaining? That's fine. Okay. That's fine. Be a string. Now what I want to do, let me just examine this carefully, see if I, because the way it's colored, no, I think it's fine. So then what I want to do here is in params, actually I don't want to pass in params, I'm going to pass in the URL via query. Okay. Cool. So debug's true, and I want to change this to URL equals this dot URL. Okay, so that way it interpolates that, puts this as a string in here, and then that's what I would like it to do, and let's see if that works. Nope, let's see here. Error, header view, unexpected, put an attribute value. Nope. It doesn't like that. It really wants me to use double quotes here. Problem is that I can't interpolate there. Well, let's try this. Maybe I can just do this. This dot URL. Okay, and let's try that out. And let's go to our view thing. Let's go to the login page. Let's refresh. Why is the login page disappearing? Oh, let's see here. I see, because it's changing where it's trying to go here. Boo. Okay. Let's take a look at that documentation here, why it's doing that. That's what it's telling me to do. Head back to the right identifier file and template block to look a lot like the file. Most of the time we're passing a URL, a router. Page 2. Notice the page 2 right now contains an ID in the path. Router link. Go examine how I did that. 2. Oh, there's a colon. That's probably the problem. Colon. Now let's give it a shot. There we go. Now that works the way we want it to work. Now let's just see if that prop got passed in. So let's go to login. Go to this the route object, query, and then we do have the URL there. Not a big fan that it has to pass into the through the URL, but what you're gonna do. Okie dokie. So in that case, what we could do is we can go back to login, and I should be able to change the URL here to this dot routes dot routes dot query dot URL. Let's see if that works. Route.query.url. Yeah, that should do it. So now if I change the URL in the my main app, it should be reflected here. So that's because again, basically app passes it to header, and then header passes it as a prop in the link tag or as a query. Okie dokie. And with that, let's log in. So we go back to the main page, click on login, change this, that's already changed the password. I click login. Read property query of undefined. This well, we know that the property exists, right? So let's go here, click on login. Oh, it's this dot route. So let's try that out. What do I have in here? This routes. So it's route. There we go. Okay, so that works. Cool. So that is good. And now we want to pass the token down to the main so that we can do that API call. So let's think about that. Can we do the same thing when we do this dot routes dot push? Okay, here we go. Yes, I can. So because we want to push it to main. Good, that's what I want. Copy. So we want to go back to app where we push the thing, which is right over here. So instead of pushing it that way, we're going to pass in this object. So I want to send it to main. And query, we're going to send plan, we're going to send tokens. And tokens are going to equal this dot tokens. Okay, which that might not 100% work the way I'd like it to because it is an object, but let's see. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so I go to login. Interesting. There we go. So I click login. Now I'm in the main component. Does the main component have the tokens? Query, tokens, method post not allowed. So I didn't get the tokens this time. Let's see here. Let's go back to app. Did I get the tokens in there? Let's see here. Console.log. Method not allowed. Is my server on? Let's go back over here. No, it is on. Let's take a look at my login. See if there's something messed up there. Oh, that's right. That's not the full URL. It would be backticks. First we would do this. And then it would be slash API slash token, if I remember right. And then that's, because that's the base URL. And again, that needs a backtick there. There we go. So let's try that again. Save. Refresh. Let's go to login. And this time it did log in just fine. And let's see, we are in the main component. And let's see, did the main component receive the tokens? And yes, it received the tokens. Good. Okay, so we have the tokens, so we can start making the requests, but I also want to send the URL. So we should also send the URL there, because we're going to need that. So let's add that in there. Okay, so let's go back over to app. So we sent the tokens. We want the URL as well, so we can make calls. So that's going to be this.url. Okay, cool. Save. So now we have all the information we really need to kind of handle everything that's going to be happening in that main component. We can make we have our tokens, so we can make the authentication. We have the URL, so we can make the calls. So now we're just going to have to populate the page with the forms. We could actually probably do that really quick. So let's find that main component. Okay, we don't really need any other components here right now. But we do need data. Okay, and again, data's got to be a function that returns an object. And we need an array for all our notes. Okay, then we also need a method that's going to run when this thing opens up. So we're going to do a before function. Function. Okay. And I'm going to just pull out the tokens and the, so const tokens and const the URL. We'll bust that out of this dot routes or route dot query. Okay, so that way we get those two variables taken care of. Then what we want to do is do a fetch. And do I have Postman still open? I do. Good. So it's, yes, it's notes. Just want to make sure. So then backticks URL slash notes. And we're just doing a get request. No, but we do need to include the headers. So method get headers. Okay, and that's going to be authorization. And again, it has to be uppercase B because of the weird simple JWT plugin we're using. Bear, and this has to be in backticks. Bear tokens dot access because I want the access token. Cool. That should do it. Then we have our good old buddy dot then, which is just going to take the response and turn it to JSON. Dot then data, and which should just be the array of notes. So we're just going to say that this dot notes equals the data we got back from the API. Cool. And then basically all we should be right now seeing on this page is just we'll just do a UL real quick, a UL, and then we're going to say li v4 equals note of notes. Okay. And then for each note, we're just going to interpolate the note, which should only be 1 or 2 if I remember correctly. So let's see, what is this complaining about? Renders the elements or template block multiple times based on the source data. Okay, fine, wants a key. V bind key equals actually this should be note.message, and this will be note.id. There we go, and that should take care of that. So let's refresh the page. We go to login. I log in, which takes us to main. Nothing gets rendered. So let's see here. Did an API call get made? We are on the main component. So let's take a look at main. Did we get the? It now has an array of 0. So let's just double check that this function is even running. I think it's actually not before, it's create actually. Created. That's it. That was the problem. Okay, so let's log out. Let's log in. Okay, yep, and there's my note. Okay, because it was only 1. Yep, so you only have 1 note with an ID of 1, message Alex Merced, so we do have it listing notes. Cool. Next will be just making it work and add notes. But let's just see if there's anything we can use from view feed just to make it look a little bit nicer. Icon, image, menu, message. I guess we could do that. Copy. See how that would look. So for each li, we'll have just one of these. And then this will just be the note.message. Now let's see how that would look. Okay, that's cool. So the next video we'll deal with adding notes. But we got to the point where you can log in, log out. We don't really have a front page, but we'll work on that. Log in. It logs in, takes you to this main page, is making the API call. It's getting there. It's getting there.